cool. Okay, so 5 minute is bearish, 15 minute is still going to be bullish. 15 actually, yeah, it's let me see, yeah, it's still bullish. The 1 hour is still bullish, and the 4 hour is still bullish, and the daily is still bullish. Nothing's changed on the bias. Okay, so don't go to the extent of doing the whole bias again like I just did, right? Only as you go from 940 to 10, only flick through the 5 and the 15, and occasionally flip to the hour, but also know where imbalances are resting, so you know. You don't need to be constantly, stressing about bias and keeping it updated, because nothing's going to change on these time frames. Only the 5 and the 15 are the ones that are really going to have an impact or change, okay? Price tap 4 hour fair value gap, so clean. Well, let's take a look. Well, it didn't tap a bearish gap. I mean, we're still respecting this one, so this is bullish confluence, 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 bullish order block on the 4 hour. So, higher time frame is very much bullish, hence why price is drawing higher. You see how our bias is more times than not very high win rate as far as bias. Pair that with the model, now you can see. Alright, let's mark out this pointer buy side here. There is a bearish SMT on NQ, NQ being the weaker asset out of the two from London highs, as ES took. Did it? No, is that equal? See, ES does like to make equal London highs there. That is a major draw for price. Major draw. Equal London highs. So as you guys seen on the backtesting session, that we took positions, okay, but we didn't take, a crazy amount of positions. We didn't take loads and loads of positions, did we? Right? We was ensuring that we was, staying close to the model, and we wasn't trading outside of the model at all. The exact same as when we trade live. And we did go a period at the start of the month when we didn't take a trade for 2-3 days, so that very much does happen in quite a few cases, and that's what you guys have to prepare yourself for, and you will get used to it. And you may, after 3 days, then take a losing trade. Okay, it doesn't matter how long you've waited to take a position or what is valid in front of you. It is based over how many positions have you taken in a row which are valid, okay, following the model, and what is your result. Not, okay, I waited 3 days, the market deserves to give me a winning trade. No, it really doesn't work like that. It works based off probability, and you need a set of results for probability, not just one result, okay, not by the end of the day saying that I closed in a profit or a loss. It has no, factor into where you're currently at. What's the longest that I have backtested? Well, I've backtested, at the end of the year. I always do it, and I backtest the whole year, right? So all of the trades that I've taken. Now, that usually lasts and takes me around, a few weeks to backtest that. And I'm doing 6 hours a day. I'm just backtesting each trade that I've taken. So I look at the differences and what is the average reason on why I take a loss. Is there something that stands out on why I would take a loss? And I really, criticize and analyze each one of my losses. And also, is there something that occurs when I take winning trades? So I do it both sides, and each trade I would say it met this requirement, this one, I'll take it off. and then you can put that into, say, ChatGPT, for example, and that would be your results. So let's say you have 150 results, okay, and each one falls into a category. It had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the checklist, and then you'd have a numerous of trades that had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you'd put that in, and then you'd find out what is the difference between, as far as win rate and your, output to what you actually got as far as the trade, risk to reward, win rate, etc. And then you can say, okay, if I make this change, it makes this difference. That is the difference from just watching the 2022 mentorship to actually really getting down, finding the model that is specifically for you. And then you really, handcraft it. I know it sounds, weird, crazy, or anything, but that's really how you become a perfectionist. That's how you become the best, right? I've never settled for, just following one model and then sticking to it blindly. You can always improve, always. Because in the start of 2024, it was T+2 for clearing. Yeah. And others have moved time 5 minute ahead. Well, I mean, a lot of ICT traders now trade inside of the macro that, I specifically trade off. I'm the one who 9:45, 10:15. No one else actually introduced that. That was me. The way I determined bias was something that I had to figure out based off probability. So, if you sit there enough and you backtest, you will find what works best. The data is there for you, and laziness of people, it's a natural human habit, okay? And if you actually get down and get to the work, you are really gonna improve your life and improve what you're currently, putting time to. So you might as well become the best. If you put time to anything, you have to become the best. Yeah, of course, Noah already knows, Noah is, he's been with us for a long time. Yeah, guys, by the way, the best cigars, if you guys are into cigars, I know, probably the women in this Discord are not. For cigars, I wouldn't really want a female to smoke a cigar anyway, it's pretty weird. But the best ones that I would say that you guys purchase after a payout, take a couple payouts, right? You want to get the ones on my Instagram story right now, which you can see, and it is QUAL Dorsey. And now these cigars, right, they are not priced at $1,000 a cigar, so you're not getting scammed for your money, but you're also getting the best quality and very smooth, nice cigars. I bought a box today, a wooden box from Cuba, actually Cuban cigars, right? And you can't buy these in the US. So for those of you in the US, tough luck. You can't get it, unfortunately. And well, I mean, I'm not going to say you can't get it. It's like, of course you can if you know the right person, but it's very difficult to get Cubans in the US, because they're illegal. Obviously, there is always someone who's managed to get them through. I'm just closing the packet. What store did you get it? I got it from Cohiba Atmosphere. So if you head down to Havana Cigars Cohiba, so Cohiba Cigars Bangkok, just type that in and you'll see it. Head in there and ask them for the one on my story. Milo, do you see fat people success? I mean, what type of question is that? But fat people success, I think there's a lot of fat people who have a lot of success. Depends what you call success, right? There's definitely people who are successful in their own world and they don't make any money, right? I think, if someone is, fat, it's not, well, yeah, genetics do play a part to gaining a lot of weight. I wouldn't say that they're unsuccessful for being fat. I would say they're uneducated in the field of, fitness, because maybe the way that they were brought up is that they weren't really fitness orientated, and they've kind of led down the wrong path as far as fitness and the way they, eat food and everything. So that's why they got fat. But then they could be really intelligent in another field, which makes them really successful. And maybe further down the line, they might figure out and say, I need to get my weight back on track, and they get on the right path, So yeah, there is, like they scam their self as the same they scam other to money. Really? I mean, I wouldn't, put fat people in, one category to say they are bad people, Some fat people can be the funniest people you ever meet, you know what I mean? But there's bad people in both worlds, you know what I mean? Like, whether, it doesn't matter what someone's appearance is, but they can still be a bad person in themselves, you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter what size they are. But as far as like being overweight, it is a sign of laziness. They move slower naturally, But that's all things they figure out themselves. It's all a lifestyle habit. If you hop on a fast or you cut carbs enough, okay, if you go back to, let's say, the 1600s, Henry VIII, nowadays it is very, very much normalized, and having a Rolex is rarer than, seeing a fat person. No. Yes. Yes. That is actually a real fact, okay? And what I will say is that when you go back to, say, Henry VIII and those days, really back to like 1600s, okay, you'll find being fat back then is a royalty. It means you're rich. It means you got money, okay? So you're able to afford to eat that much food that you can get fat, right? Because back then, it is essentially, to put on weight, you have to consume a lot of food, right? And back then, it was not something that everyone could do. If you're a servant, if you're a normal class, or you're below the, the upper class of the people who are actually fat, right? It's only nowadays that fast food and all of these things have come into place, which is a crazy thing in itself, really. And people don't really, if you really deep dive into the way the world is operating now to, say, a few hundred years ago, it really does go deep, like deep. Like, even if you think about fast food chains and how they've really been promoted by the government and really pushed out, and you can see them on every corner, if you actually look into the fast food ingredients and the things that they are feeding people, it is quite scary. And no one really looks into it that deep. And also, when you consume food so much and so fast and all of the time, it really does feed the bad cells inside of your body. So that's also why we've seen such an increase on people getting illnesses, cancers, over the past 10 years than any other period in human time. Getting cancer 100 years ago was like, what? And now it's like, oh, okay, someone at 20 years old has it, right? Real thing. Well, I mean, you're not controlled by the government, but you're misled, okay? And uneducated people, they just go down that path, right? They either, that's who they are. That's what they do. You either choose to educate yourself and live your life to the fullest and be the best possible version of yourself, or you just become a loser, right? There's plenty of losers, and they do pile up. And, inside of this group and what we are, we're winners. So we always make sure we're improving. If you're going to eat a burger, we're not going to eat McDonald's. We're going to have a Wagyu steak burger, right? So we're not going to touch any of those bad chemicals. And I'm not going to say that I haven't eaten McDonald's. I definitely have many, many times, right? I've had a lot of fast food in my life. But at the same time, I'm also understanding and educated enough to know what I'm consuming if I ever do. Is that a new order block printed? Yeah, that's a bullish order block. So, I mean, if you want to mark it out, then by all means you can. Okay, so if we look at the bias as of now, the 5-minute time frame is bearish, the 15-minute time frame is bearish, the 1 hour time frame is bearish, and the 4 hour time frame is bullish, and the daily is bullish. Okay, so we have a bearish bias. A shift in market structure lower here is really going to give us a nice clean model for shorts to then target the opposing liquidity. So I want to see a shift lower in market structure, inversing this bullish order block, which would be a nice clean model for shorts. So you really can see how the bias has played out so far today. We was bullish around this area here, price traded higher and performed to be bullish and traded towards an objective, met bearish imbalances, and is now in a bearish point of view as far as bias. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense to you guys. Okay, so the 5-minute, it was bearish, trades into the bullish gap and is now bullish towards the high. So just staying on top of the 5 and the 15 is enough. Bearish, bearish, and leads us to being neutral right now. Okay, so we're currently on a neutral standpoint. This is a bullish order block with a candle closure below. We did take the high on the 1 minute, so it would be a breaker block. So right now it is an order block, and it's just been inversed, so it's a breaker block. Just shifted market structure slightly on NQ, so we have a breaker paired with the gap. ES is slightly shifting that. So no shift on ES. We do have a gap on an inverse order block almost with this candle closure, but bias currently stands as neutral. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's all very slow, guys. There's no need to rush the process. No need to panic when you're trading live. You know, as long as you follow the steps and you understand what's currently happening. Okay, so we've had a retracement into lower time frame premium. In, you know, simple short term, we've swept buy side. We've formed a bearish bias off that. We've shifted into bullish imbalances on the 5-minute, which turned this to be bullish. Bearish, bearish, bullish, bullish, neutral. Well, actually, bullish. So 60% bullish bias right now. So this right here, with a failed shift on ES, the likely scenario by the book is that we trade back towards the high. Now, probability lies both ways, but probability lies in favor of trading back towards liquidity with a failed shift on ES. Right, let me check where this Italian food is, because it was on its way out for delivery. Right. Okay, so he's on a moped. He's coming in. His name is unknown. He's on a Honda PCX. Hopefully he doesn't crash. Yeah, so shift in market structure, NQ, inverse order block, breaker block, paired with a gap on NQ, gap on both, no shift in market structure on ES, and bias currently stands, as you can see, as bullish. So the 5-minute right now is bullish out of the gap. If we inverse the 5-minute bullish gap, that will shift the bias to being bearish, which would validate the shorts if ES shifts. Okay, so if we in 2 minutes close below 0.7775, it would make the 5-minute bearish towards this gap. Considering we don't trade into it and we shift on ES, we can take an entry for NQ, right? So hopefully that makes sense, right? So obviously with 2 bullish, well, 3 bullish and 2 bearish, this can very much easily flip with one side flipping to the other. So we can go from bullish to bearish just from, you know, a 5-minute change here. So we monitor that in a minute and 30 seconds. We have shifted market structure on ES, okay, and we've taken out no other lows on the lower time frame that, you know, met on objective, okay. And the thing that is really going to help you guys understand probability and stop you from taking low probability trades is backtesting, and really seeing more times than not, it's really going to, you know, what's the right word for it? Coincide the trades that don't play out more times than not inside your brain. So when you're monitoring price live, you're like, okay, I've seen this so many times, because price action repeats, and you can't just approach price in 6 months. I've seen every sort of scenario, but as time passes, you will see every type of scenario. Yeah, exactly. The hourly is bullish. So the most probable scenarios that we trade back to the high, you know, IST traders right now, they would be looking for a short based off 2022. And yeah, still bullish. So the bias stands as relatively bullish, 80%. Now I'm not saying this won't play out. There's still a probability, but more times than not, is that it doesn't. So that is our window outside of macro now, okay? So 2nd AM. That's pretty good timing actually, because that means my Italian food driver on the PCX is going to be pulling up. Cool, so we'll leave the bias there. Now what we want to see for this next macro is one of two scenarios. You know, price is going to be pretty forgiving to us today. We want to see price draw to buy side, which would give us a nice bearish bias as of this point, or we could also see this scenario where we see a sweep of sell side, which would give us a very, very strong bullish bias. We have a strong bullish bias as of this point, but trading back to this point, taking sell side, we can then look for longs to target opposing. So vice versa is actually going to give us a clean opportunity to then look for the rest of the model. Alright, so I will keep my mic muted until, let me check, so 10:35, around 10:35, 10:40 AM New York local time, and then I will speak to you guys then for this second. Yes guys, right, I think you can hear me now, and I just unmuted my mic. It was muted at the start, and now we are back. So hope you guys are doing well. Second day in macro, we're just monitoring price. We're trading into some bullish fair value gaps here. ES has taken out some of these highs, which you can see. We are running a bullish bias, and you can see we have a shift in market structure on both assets and inverse order block, and it is paired with a gap. So ES has taken this high, which you can see. Yes, that's correct. So the message on the Discord, which you can see, and also the main fault with this current position here of taking a long is we've not really actually had a prominent sweep of sell side, right? So price is traded lower into discount of this move higher, but not taking out any actual lows, right? So we have sell side and we have buy side, but we've not taken out an actual point of liquidity, okay? And ES has traded higher to take out buy side, bearish SMT on NQ. It's not actually swept a point of sell side. Now, a point of sell side would be this or this. Either point is minus sell side. But what we've taken out is short-term lows, okay, whilst trading lower. So not taking actually a sell side. Is there, you guys listen and, put in the chat now if you've got recommendations for channels that I should include inside of this Discord, which you want to know and you think would be beneficial for multiple people. Put it in the chat if you think there should be more channels added in here that you know or heard of me speak about before, but you kind of want it. Backtesting channel, okay. Gym. I think the kind of gym channel could be pretty in line with the superhuman guide. So I can include that in there because that's also about being, the best optimal self. Successful purchases channel. Well, that's actually a good idea. So obviously people, when they get their payout, they then, if they want to get anything, if you buy like an M3 comp or, you get a Lambo or whatever you get, whatever. We could have a channel for that as well. Now, I see, one about any possibility to update tax and accounts. Yeah, that is coming and I'm also working on that. So all of the other channels have been pretty much completed. Just that channel is in the works. And psychology channel, the thing is with the psychology channel, okay, is psychology in itself is just a lazy excuse and there's not really too much I can say about it, right? Someone who sits there and clicks a button when they shouldn't is just not disciplined enough to stop themselves. They can't control their own brain. And if you can't control your own brain in any sort of business, you're never going to succeed, right? So I can't talk too much on psychology. If you're told not to do something and you do it, that's something you learn from being very young, right? There's things you do and don't. And in this business, it very much is do and don't. And if you do the don't, then you do lose all of your accounts and you go back to square one. And that's not what you want, but then you choose to do it. So, it is very concerning, but there's actually not much I can talk on psychology. You just don't do it. I mean, I'm not trying to be a Camila Harris, whatever her name is, because she said to Iran, don't do it. And Trump said that Trump's going to bomb them, but I'm saying to you guys is that it's a bit petty, you know what to do. I've given you the exact guidance. You watch me live. And I think, for some people that really want to rush the process and get it now, right? I think the live streams of watching me live has really, helped some of you guys stay disciplined because but he's not, this is how he is visualizing price now, and this is how, and it's definitely giving you guys some sort of guidance. A lot of people have no model, but with a model that works, it's so less stressing and easy to not get and enter a trade that you shouldn't. Exactly. I mean, you either know what you're doing or you don't, right? Private videos channel, the links shared only for Discord members. Now, that is a good idea, right? So I'm going to write down for 2 examples here, which is private videos channel. So I will make, if there's a special request, that is something that we should go over as a topic, then I will make a video on that and then we include that. So let me make a note of this. Discord upgrade. You see, we're always upgrading, there's always more knowledge and more value coming to you guys. So even when I go out, say I'm in Dubai and I meet someone, or more information has been acquired, it comes straight to you guys. So Discord upgrade. Okay, so it's going to be private video link channel for Discord only. Okay, good idea. Economic events, I mean, that's already included inside AM Prep, so you guys are already ready for that, so that's fine. We've just swept sell side, by the way, and following a bullish bias, shift in market structure higher here, above this previous short-term high on NQ and ES, would be what we're looking for. Bearish order block to be inversed, that would be nice. So I want to see a shift higher here in market structure. Okay, interview with successful students. That's also a good idea, yeah. I've done and met pretty much 2 people that I coached one-to-one. I met Marvin. I don't know if Marvin's watching this stream right now. If you are, Marvin, what are you saying? I've met Danny as well. You know, Danny is from New York, Puerto Rican. He lives in Miami, and I flew him to Miami, and you know, we spent the day together. He did over 30k in payouts in about 3 weeks on Top Step, so that was great. And I've not met the rest of the people who have been paid out from watching me live or one-to-ones, etc. You know, we don't always end up landing in the same location, but if we do, yeah, I would always be down to meet up with you guys, and we're going to make a event happen soon as well. So private video link channel for Discord only. Okay. What was the other one? So private videos. Milo, you should kickbox. Yeah, I probably should. Probably should. I mean, I've done some boxing, I've done some Muay Thai. I'm not a professional, but I still have abilities. Any... Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, that was it. Winners. Purchases. That was it. Yeah, purchases. Purchases. And flexing. All right, cool. Now, I think, you know, a really good channel would be something related to God, okay? And people to put things inside of that channel that, you know, that they've discovered that day inside of the Bible and they've read it. But the only reason why I probably wouldn't make that is because we really do have a mixture of nationalities from people all around the world with different religious attributes. And it will be all over the place, and we might even start a huge debate. So I don't even want to go down that route. So it's pretty best that we leave that one out. So we will do purchases and flexing and a private video link channel, which I will make, you know, personalized videos for you guys on special request. Milo, don't you think that we should get back to close the gap that happened in the market open at Monday morning? So you're talking about the new week opening gap. So you are referencing on the 15-minute time frame about the new week here and the new week on ES, which almost traded into this morning. Almost, but not quite. Now we trade into a portion of the imbalance, but not the unfilled blank space. Okay, that would be the new week opening up. So not quite. And for ICT traders that took a long there, they got wrecked. They did. So that was a non-sweeper sell side. Okay, so we traded lower, but we didn't actually take sell side. There's no sell side here. And ES traded enough on the displacement side of things to actually take buy side. So one of the objectives that we would use. Okay, so now we're getting already a sweeper sell side, potentially taking this low. Our bias as of now, 5-minute time frame, you can see that it's bullish. The 15-minute time frame, you can see that it was bearish and it's not met the draw and it took a low, so it's neutral. So as far as this point here, the 15's neutral, okay? Neutral. 1 hour time frame, hourly still open for 2 minutes, bullish, trades lower, and assuming we don't inverse that bullish gap at the close, either way it's still bullish. 4 hour time frame has time on it, see 3 hours, so bullish regardless for the next 3 hours. And the daily of course doesn't change. So yes, the bias is 80% bullish, well actually 100% 100% bullish bias. We're looking for a shift in market structure. This will give us a bearish order block paired with the fair value gap on ES. If we shift now, this will be a bullish SMT on ES, a shift on both assets, a order block inverse paired with a gap on both. It's the model, right? So that's what we're looking for. If we get a shift here, I will be looking for an entry. So look, SMT is only a confluence. It's nothing crazy. It's just an added confluence. ES is about to close up that gap. Hopefully not. If it does, it does. Alright, cool. So we have a gap on ES, which you can see, and it is paired with the inverse order block. If ES closes above and NQ closes above, that will confirm the model here. This will give us a point of entry, which we're looking for off this gap, running a 20. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So I'm monitoring that displacement there. So ES, okay, ES displaced, NQ displaced. Entry is looking for off the gap. 23.25 handle stop, and we're looking for a 2-to-1, 2.63 risk to reward for this high, which is under a 3-to-1. So we're looking for an entry off this gap. Considering that ES doesn't take this high, I'm looking for an entry off the gap. So let's see if we get that. So 23 handle stop, if you look on the risk management sheet for your funded or eval, then that would be your how much you're looking to risk on the trade. So you have to be cautious about ES if it takes that high, because that would meet the objective of NQ, but right now it's not happened, so we are still looking for an entry. Okay, so there's no upper fair value gaps created. Yeah, regardless on the 5-minute result of bias, the bias is bullish regardless, because the higher time frame is already 3 out of 4 results, 75% bullish. One result is bearish doesn't mean that it's going to affect it to be a bearish bias, it just means it would be B+. So if we see an entry, I'll be taking it with 20. ES is getting rather close, and equal highs, not quite taken, it's taken. Okay, so we didn't get an entry on that trade, that's fine. It's now no longer valid because ES has met the objective. That's not a problem at all. See what the Discord's saying. Okay, so just give me 1 second. I'll have the mic muted for around 3 to 5 minutes whilst monitoring price. Alright, yes guys, how's it going? So I have my mic muted for a couple minutes. Alright, so that trade, obviously, that we was looking at, got invalidated by ES taking the high. Until 19th, he said, and the last 3 weeks, he did like 3 winning days. Okay. Overall, all months combined, what was the result of the backtesting session? So we actually closed the backtesting session. We closed it up plus 4.5 risk to reward, but we only did half the month, okay? And the other half of the month, well, the actual week we stopped on the Monday, as it got quite late and extensive backtesting session, right? We stopped on the Monday, the 18th. So if you continue from the 18th, you'll find that week to give you an extra 4 or even 6 R in profit. So that month you'll close 10 R plus. Now we close on the stream 4.5 R in a profit or whatever it was, and it's available for you to watch in the Discord inside the AM prep. Is there a recording of the backtesting session? Absolutely. So as I said previously, there is all of the updates that we have each day inside Discord, inside the AM prep. So check it out inside Discord AM prep channel, and you'll see the link of it in there as well. So you can find it all there for you. So we've got, what, 2-3 minutes left of this macro. And, you know, yes, it can be frustrating that we didn't get an entry. Now, the model was valid and it was there, but price didn't actually come back on either NQ or ES for an entry off a fair value gap, which we didn't see. Okay, so that's perfectly fine. And now with, obviously, ES took the high, which invalidated the trade. As of now, what questions do you guys have? I've got a pregnant emoji on there as well. You know, you guys are funny, you know. Any questions in regards to like bias, etc. as of now? Who's in a Bitcoin short at the moment as well? You know, there is other sectors inside of this group that you will be capitalizing from as well. You don't trade with Ben? No, I don't trade with Ben. I don't. We trade completely differently, actually. We trade ICT, obviously, but we have a different set of rules, and the way we monitor price is different, you know. So I'm not going to say one's better than the other, but we are different people and different traders, okay? I live by myself. I don't like living with people. You know, I don't really like socializing with people on a day-to-day inside my own apartment. It's great to be with your friends, but, you know, I stay by myself, or maybe with some women. That's it. Did you just say short Bitcoin? Well, I mean, inside of the Discord, we do have a crypto section, and at the top, it is a current position that I'm in, yes. You know, when I posted it in there, you guys had an entry around 115. It's now at 107. It traded back to 115, 116. So how was the link up with KDS? Yeah, he's a cool guy, man. You know, I think it was nice to meet someone who's on the same wavelength, you know. He's doing well, and he's done, you know, a lot in payouts as well. So it was good to link up. Bought him a cigar and a drink there, which was nice, you know. Meeting up with someone. I don't really meet up with anyone, to be honest. I'm not really on that, but yeah, it was good to link up. So he had a ZX10R, but now he's on the CBR 500, CBR 550 or 600. So because the ZX10 in Bangkok, because that's where he stays, it just overheats. I'm on the liter here. I'm always on the liter. I'd never go down to 600, but you know, the liter here, I do agree, you know, with him fully that it does get quite hot, and it is difficult kind of getting the most out of a liter, you know, where we're currently at. This is a bullish order block on ES, so a shift lower market structure, it would be the model, and a sweep of minor buy side, okay? But we need to see with our bias as of now. So 5-minute bearish gap was inverse, trading out the bullish gap. Okay, so the 5 minutes bullish and would remain as bullish. The 15-minute is still neutral, and the hourly closed, but we are outside of the second day of macro now, so obviously we will start prepping for the lunch. Can you go over fair value gap mitigation, please? Yeah, sure. So I understand inversion, but when a fair value gap is mitigated, we should still pay attention to it. When you say a fair value gap is mitigated, do you mean that the fair value gap itself has displaced? That would be a breakaway gap. So if the fair value gap causes a shift and a gap simultaneously, that would be a breakaway gap, BAG. And if, for example, a fair value gap is a draw for price to draw back to that area. It also acts as support or a resistance for price if it's a bullish or a bearish order block. Bullish or a bearish fair value gap. When you have a inverse order block, we look for a breakout mitigation to be paired with a fair value gap. That's 2 points of interest resting at the same area. That's hence why we have the entry at that area, along with the other confluences that we look for. How long are you in Thailand for? I don't really know. I will be flying to Dubai within the next, say, 2 weeks. Not really too sure, but a flight is getting booked to go Dubai. I'll be in Dubai for 5-6 days. Just checking out the new site. Bought 2 apartments there, so go check that out. Spend some time there and then head back. I like Thailand for its relaxed rules, you know, and you know, pretty consistent weather as long as it's not rainy season. I've been to every place in this planet that I would choose to go, but I always find myself to come back to this place. I don't know why, but it's definitely a preference of mine. And then we'll gradually move over to Dubai once we secure the villa on the Palm. Now, I spoke to a bank and they said it would be a 25% down payment, which is really, really giving. And they said the reason why they'd do it is because that I've bought 2 apartments. So it already shows that I've got, you know, real estate in Dubai or in the works. And it allows me to put a lower deposit down. So I'd have to put down around £2.5 million for the villa that I want. So, you know, I'm going to give myself, you know, enough time to get to that point where I can, you know, I'll happily put down £2.5 million. But right now I'd rather have that inside of my live account, because that would be, you know, quite a chunk of my capital to put that down on just the apartment that I'm living in. So, are you in Thailand alone? Are there any of your friends? So in Thailand, as of now, yes, I do have a couple people here, but I don't really socialize with, you know, too many people, to be honest. There's a difference between knowing a lot of people and actually, you know, being close with a lot of people and being, you know, almost your one of oneself, you know, yourself and someone else, right? So there's a big difference. So yeah, the bias still remains bullish, and we are going to wait for the lunch macro. How do you find the girls down there? I mean, if you know the right locations, you can find some, you know, decent women, but it really depends where you go. If you go to the wrong areas, you will find some pretty awful sights. The best place in the world for women depends what you like, to be honest. I really can't advise because everyone likes different things, you know what I mean? If you like a female with a low body count and they're not lion and they're not like masculine, then go to Eastern Europe. If you like Latinas but don't really care about the body count, then go Colombia. If you like Asian women, then go to, I would say, definitely don't go Singapore. Some Chinese, but they'd be mixed. You can't have straight Chinese, but it'd be mixed. Thailand's alright, but only if you go to the right places. How much risk to reward do you want to take in 1 month? What is your average? My average risk to reward per month is around 5 to 6 R a month. So I do on average around 3 winning trades per month. So it'd be 6 R a month. Now that's not 6% a month. It would only be 6% a month if you was risking 1% a trade. Now, the amount of risk that you have on your account really depends on your drawdown, but it will stay at $300, which is below 1%. So you're not trading a 50K account, you're trading drawdown, and we're making it to be where it's okay from risking 300 for your current drawdown of 2K to get to 4.5 to risk 600. So yes, you'd be doing it on average around 5-6 hour a month. Now I've had August, which I closed around a 12 to 14 hour in August. This month so far, I'm up 5.2 hour, and the past 2 weeks has been, it was 2.2 R minus 1 R, and so far this week minus 0.03 R, 0.2, yeah, 0.2 R. So in the last 2 weeks, or 2.5 weeks, I'm up plus one, quick maths, plus 1 R. Yeah, 1 R pretty much. So last 2.5 weeks has actually been relatively really slow. Okay, and it does get like this sometimes where we take relatively no trades, all-time highs. That's what happens, right? So we avoid all of the trades that people say, oh, it's so hard trading all-time highs, but we perform very well. And the first week of October, I secured around 6R. How much risk percentage do you risk on your live account? I barely risk anything. Now I actually treat my live account, my live TraderVate account, the same as pretty much a savings account, right? So, you know, I put 60 to 70% of my payouts in my live account, and I risk little to nothing. Now I could risk way more to what the account balance is, but I choose to risk a smaller amount, which still compounds over time, has made a massive difference to the account. And, you know, you relatively won't see it over the month to month, but by the end of the year, you know, the account has grown massively. How much do you risk on your live account? I tend to risk around $8,000 to $12,000 per trade. Just started an eval for my first funded account. Now just need to get some trades in. When you say self-funded account, did you start a live account, Ether web? Did you start a live account, or did you get funded from an eval? Do you think you'll scale up in the up and coming years, or are you already making enough money? Well, it comes to a point with prop firms that you can only work with so many. Now, for example, there is people that choose to work with other prop firms that I have not worked with before, and they end up making more because they are testing out and trying new prop firms, right? So that is always something that you should try as well. When it comes to scaling the live account, as of now, your growth from when you're starting is exponential, but then it is come to a point where it does slow down, but you're still growing, right? So once you've acquired all of the prop firms, you're there, you're still moving the payouts into your live, you're moving it into real estate, crypto positions. So gradually, yes, it's all growing, but there's only so many prop firms you can work with. Wait, can you guys hear me, yeah? Let me know if you guys can hear me, all good. Hog Rider 690219. Hog Rider? What is he doing? I don't know. He closed the live. Hog Rider. Right. How is it possible that he closed the live? You know, Hog Rider, wherever you're at, raise yourself to speak. Let me hear the words that you've got to say. Maybe it was just a mistake. He didn't mean to close the live, you know. We've not... I think we need to get Peter to speak to this Hog Rider. Yeah, where's Peter at? You know, where's Peter when you need him? Because now we can hear you finally. Oh yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking. Maybe Discord closed the stream just so the audio now works, you know? Where is this Hog Rider? End stage. Oh, right. So, you know, anyone can end it. All right. I mean, don't do that, guys, because I had no volume all morning. Everything was turned on. When the stream broke, it came back. Okay, well, that's good, isn't it? One sec. Let me reshare the screen. All right. So you guys can obviously see my screen as of now. Should be all good. Can you guys check whether it shows the option now to end the stage? Does it still show that or no? I don't know if it does. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Oh. Well, I don't know how to fix that, but how do I change that? How's that possible? One person said he doesn't have the option, and then some people do. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. Is it better to buy apartments to rent out or homes? Well, depends where you're buying. For example, I mean, also depends how much capital you're coming with, right? I would say it's better to buy apartments, and it depends whether you're willing to pay a monthly point and then own it in 3 years, right? So an off-plan project that's being built and you get handover in 2-3 years, or you could buy a place that is getting built or already built and own it now and then rent it out straight away, and then they pay the mortgage. But you have to approach the bank with a 40% down payment. So if it's 500k, okay, you're gonna have to put down, let's say 500, 10%, 50 times 4, 200k. So, you know, you're putting down 200 for a place worth 500. It might work better that you pay monthly and use your payouts and have 3 apartments in 3 years, which are then going to be worth 80% or 60% more than what you bought it for. And then as soon as you get them, you're up 60% in equity, and then you're renting them. Short-term rental Airbnb? No, so I'll be renting them for the long term. Yeah, exactly. Buy land around developing cities. That's a very good idea. It's a very, very big thing, right? So, especially in Dubai, if you're able to buy land, now I don't know too much about that sector itself with buying land in Dubai. Maybe only people, because with buying land, you can only buy land in some countries if you're actually a resident from that place. So it very much depends. But buying versus renting, I mean, obviously rent from the start, make your money in the rental, and then acquire other purchases to then rent and make money from. But don't live in your purchase. Right, I'm just going to mute my mic for a couple minutes until we get to this macro. Alright, take a look at price. Obviously, we're inside of the lunch macro as of now, and we have a sweep of sell side, okay, and a sweep of sell side on ES with a bearish order block. So a shift higher as of now would form a inverse of a bearish order block, a shift on both assets, and a model for us to take longs, right? So as this model previously was valid, didn't give us an entry, same here, inside of this macro, if we shift higher, then we can actually look for longs as of this point. Okay, so 5-minute bias as of now, with that candle being open and closing in a minute 40 is bullish, and the 15-minute as of now, if we look to the left, trades lower into the bullish gap, so the 15's shifted bullish instead of neutral. Okay, and the hourly's bullish The 4 hours bullish, the daily's bullish, so we have a bullish result. A shift in market structure as of now is going to be a valid model, 100%. Alright, so let's see whether we get a shift in market structure here, because this is going to give us a nice clean opportunity for a long. This is the bearish order block on ES. So bias currently stands as very strong bullish, and we just want to see a shift higher in market structure. We tapped into a 15-minute fair value gap. We swept sell side, so looking good. Bias 100% bullish as well. Yeah, that's correct. And we got plenty of time left of this macro as well. So our shift in market structure actually will occur above this short-term high. Okay. See what the chat's saying. So the breaker block should be the 1150 ES. That is correct. 1150 is correct. Or it could also be this one as well. So we either shift and that's paired with a gap, okay, which it won't be, which would be this one paired with the gap. So either way, we're going to have an inverse order block. If we shift now, market structure would have one regardless. And on NQ as well. You know, if it doesn't pair up an ES, it will pair up an NQ. So it does not really matter about, as far as an order block, we have enough. If price shifts higher as of now, you know, we are going to see a model is failing to shift market structure as we speak. So I mean, the likely scenario of when it fails to shift, if it's not going to shift now, it's likely going to seek liquidity again. So let's give it some time. So the objectives for this position would be this high, and also this 1 minute high on NQ. Okay, so we're starting to get a shift in market structure here, which is going to be paired. Now this high, I'm not looking at this as an objective for the trade because it is in such close proximity, it has not even shifted at all. So it's only just shifted as of now. This would be a B plus trade. So objective, for example, would be this high. So if we shift hard enough to take out this high, then it would have met the objective. So we have a fair value gap on both NQ and ES being formed, which is paired with the inverse order block, okay, which took the low, so it's a breaker block. Alright, so we're going to be looking for an entry here as a long, stop loss at the low, 25 points. We're looking for a 2 to 1 for the first 1 minute high, which in this case runs to this area. Okay, so ES has tapped the gap. So I'm in on NQ there. I'm running a stop loss. At 97625. And I'm seeking the first 1 minute high, which is this one for a 2 to 1. So we're getting a 2.47 risk to reward, and the high referenced on ES is this candle's high. So the point that we trail our stops is this first 1 minute high here. So this is our, we can label this as TS. And that's the only thing that we have to think about as of now. As we enter into a position, we look at only managing our risk, and that's it. So our stop is at a protected low, which is at the short-term low. So essentially our stop is below all of the bullish PD rays and confluences for this position. And then we are targeting the first 1 minute high, which is as close to a 2 to 1. You see this high is at a 1.58, so not enough. And then this 1 minute high here is as the closest point to a 2 to 1. So 6325, and you'd run your TP at 6125. So a sell limit. Screen needs to be shared, Milo. I mean, can you not see my screen? I think majority of you guys can, definitely see my screen. Should be just fine. All right, perfect. Yeah, you guys can see my screen, so that's all good. So as I said to you guys, when you're in a position, the only thing you should be considering or paying attention to is there is two results, right? Price draws to the stop and takes you out of position, or price takes out the first high and goes towards 50%, and you start working out at which point are you going to trail your stops as the trade is to work in favor. So if we use the fib tool, so from our entry to our TP, okay, 50% would be any high or bullish gap created past 50% is where we would actually trail our stops to break even. And then this is the point to trail to the previous low. If this high gets taken, then we would trail to that point there. What level is the stop loss? Okay, so we just took the high, so I want you guys to trail your stops to 985.50. So reducing risk by 50%, 985.50. So it's a 50% reduced point of risk. Okay, and remember with the fib tool, if we create a bullish gap here, this will be past our point of 50%. So if we create a bullish gap here, then we can go towards break even with our stops. So I'll leave the 50% mark as a line like this. Mark it as 0.5. So right now we've reduced risk by 50%. So if you're risking $300 per trade on a funded account, you're only risking around 160 right now. So we've reduced risk, and if we was to close at this point with a bullish gap, right, this candle sits above 50%. That would then mean that we trail our stops to my entry, which is at 26,000 on the dot. Okay. Okay, so now the stops will go towards break even. So 26,000 so it's completely risk-free trade, as we've made a bullish gap past 50% of the trade, so we can reduce the risk. And then now we're monitoring on NQ and ES at the level of TP. If that gets taken on ES, then we would end up closing out of the position. Pretty simple stuff, guys. I mean, it's all about just, managing your risk correctly as the trade works out, and then over the course of a year and a longer time span, you're going to be at the most favorable and best point that you could be in, right? So as of now, there's no point to trail our stops to any point in a profit. We continue to leave our stops at break even. We'd only trail it to say, 2 short-term highs behind. Let me I'll turn the volume down on the Discord chat. Oh, there we go. Okay, so close out of your positions there, and we've just hit TP, and we secured a 2.4 risk to reward. So just over what we look for of a 2 to 1, we just got a 2.4 risk to reward on that position. So, you know, that concludes Thursday and puts me up now 7.3R on the month of October. So October's, you know, it's looking clean and it's pretty much over. You know, we got tomorrow and then that would finish October off, and that position secured me just shy of $60,000 of profit. And I know there's people actually inside the Discord, actually, you know, Dom probably would have secured more himself, you know. Dom, how much did you make on that trade? How much did you make, Dom? So I believe, you know, Dom's now at the point he makes more than I do. So, you know, that's what it's like. But yeah, I mean, you know, our patience always pays off. And yeah, guys, let's get some W's in the chat. Go on, spam it in the chat. Let everyone know. Let's get them in. And I know you guys have been patient, which has been great, and you've been monitoring price through all-time highs, which has been slow and difficult for many. But it's, you know, held a lot of people to grow on their psychology, etc. Understand when the model presents itself, we're there to capitalize, and when it's not, we're not there to get into positions that shouldn't be taken. 5.2k profit, lovely stuff. It's good to see, good to see. So yeah, I'm currently up 5.2R on the month. Not 5.2, 7.2R on the month of October. I didn't trade September and I closed up August. It was in August 12 to 14R. So in the last, you know, 3 months, I've done over 20R. Nice work, brother. 18.3k. Lovely stuff. $900 on 5 accounts. Lovely stuff. How much did everyone make on that position? Also, guys, you know, daily result. We have a channel inside of the Discord as well. So those of you that have made a profit or whatever, make sure to post your results inside of the daily result channel. And then for those of you that have got funded or even paid out, then that's what the certificates channel is for. It's for those of you that obviously receive a certificate of being funded or paid. So yeah, spam your results inside the daily result channel on the Discord as well. That pretty much concludes today. So it may seem slow sometimes when we're monitoring price, that we barely take any positions, but we really are filtering out low probability for high probability. And as long as you follow the model, and look how algorithmic that is. From our point of entry, we traded into the bullish gap below, and then price trades higher. We trail our stops accordingly, 50%. We reduce to 100% risk off. Trades algorithmically towards our area of TP and ends up taking the opposing objective. So this is the objective, but this is where we take our position off. So we got positions where we would end up with less than a 2 to 1R, and positions like this when we get more than a 2 to 1. So we got, say for a $300 risk on a funded account, you would have made on this trade around 700 instead of 600. So yeah, I'd say around 750, 700 on a 50k funded account. We got Sean Who What When Why made 766 across 5 accounts. Lovely stuff, brother. All right, so that is us done for today. Okay, I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream. I'm gonna upload this on YouTube, so you know, stay tuned for that as well. And I will speak to you guys shortly for Friday's AM session, we will be going live at 9:20 AM on the dot, New York local time. So I really do look forward to speaking to you guys then. More work is being done to the Discord as well. So inside of the 0% tax, we are upgrading that. We're adding 2 more channels as well, and that will be added shortly, which comes with more videos privately made for you guys, and then also another channel created as well, which I've got down. Have a great evening, guys, and I will speak to you shortly.